Right then, lads, welcome back to 99 Sport. My name is Cossy. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in all parts of the world. There is a big question in the Premier League, and I'm going to try to answer that question in my own understanding and in my own way. Who wins the top four race? Because it's one position, one like this. I think it's around six clubs at the moment that you feel like are potential contenders. So the big question is who wins the top four race? Who actually finishes in that fourth spot? You have Arsenal there. I think they're leading that race. Arsenal really doing very well. You have Manchester United, who are thought to be favorites right from the start. Because they have a big squad, because they have a lot of quality in in their squad. I think they have a better squad than Arsenal, West Ham, Wolves, and Tottenham Hotspur. So you think by default they should have been the favorites, but they are not at the moment. If you look at in terms of form and how they're performing and the way they're picking up points and the rate at which they drop points, you have Tottenham Hotspur under Antonio Conte. I still feel like they did very great business in January. The likes of Rodrigo Bentancur and Dejan Kulusevski. I thought it was really good business. And the fact that these are players from the Italian Serie A. And you feel like Antonio Conte knows the league and knows the players. They come from Juve, where he's been. I feel like they were always gonna hit the ground running, and they did really. So you have Spurs in there, you have Wolves that have. You've got to give Bruno Lage a lot of credit, because at the beginning of the season there are a couple of issues with scoring goals, and issues with winning games, because if you don't score, you don't win games. But as the season has evolved, during the course of the season, they've actually worked out their differences. They've worked out their problems, starting with the fact that they changed a manager at the beginning of the season. Nunes Espirito Santo moving away from Wolves and moving on to Spurs, where he was a total failure, and then Bruno Lage coming in, and they're just harmonizing this kind of quality in this side, keeping the players that he had to keep, the likes of Bruno, the likes of Moutinho and Pedro Neto. Of course, he suffered a long-term injury, which I think was a problem. The likes of Podence, he's kept them as a unit, and I think that is really helped them. And of course, like we'll see in this video, their strength as Wolves is their defensive ability. They really rarely concede goals. And of course, West Ham, we know what David Moyes has done all season for them. So we're going to be trying to look into these clubs who can take the top four place. And for me, the biggest question here is, with almost less than 11 games left to play, 10 games, those are 30 points to collect. It's still very tight, very tight, because if you look at the table there on your screen, it is still very tight. Arsenal, United, West Ham, Wolves, and Spurs. Anyone could take it. Absolutely, anyone could take it. And I think that is where all clubs will be like, it is not over until it is over. Consider subscribing to the channel if you're new, and if you like the content, subscribe to the channel, hit the like button down on the video, and also do me a huge favor by letting me know what your take is on who wins the top four race in the comment box below. Massively appreciated in that regard. Right, so let's get into it, and let's start off with Wolves, because I think look, with all due respect, Wolves are the least expected to win the top four race, and it's because of their performance that I feel hurt by my words. Honestly, this season, if you ask me, one team that has been really consistent, they've not picked up very crazy points, but the fact that they find themselves trailing right right in that area of the top four, it really means a lot. It absolutely means a lot, because first and foremost, you didn't expect them to be here. For me, at the beginning of the season, yes, they did have a couple of players coming in, the likes of Trincao coming in, but the fact that they started so poorly, I didn't expect anything dramatic from them. Like a turnaround, and I think that's where I think that's where I'm gonna say Bruno Lage has really done a very wonderful job when it comes to organizing Wolves. They've really done it. Their strength is defensive wise. They really do not concede so many goals, and I think that is one of the reasons why they are where they are. They also don't score as many goals as as Chelsea or City or Liverpool. They don't do that, but I think the compensation is that whereas we do not score many, we do not concede many. They have lost 3 of their last 5 games, and that really shows you how why I feel like they will not win this top 4 race. They're sitting 8th on the table at the moment, sitting 8th. 8 points behind Arsenal in in that 4th place, and if you look at the number of games they played, 2 more games more than Arsenal. So for me, I feel like they will not finish ahead of Spurs. They will not finish ahead of United, West Ham, and Arsenal. But they deserve to get a mention, especially with the kind of performances they've been putting in, with the kind of quality they've been putting in as a side. You can't mention top 4 at the moment, and you do not mention them. What they have to do for me as Wolves is just keep on that kind of performance. No one is gonna ask Bruno Lage for top 6 or top 7. It's for Wolves. It's always, can you finish mid-table? It's Wolves. It's Leicester. It's maybe Villa could be different. Starting next season because they've invested. But with Wolves, really top 4, top 5, top 6, that is not something that they're gonna sack you because because you don't have it. So with Wolves, I will tip them to finish 8th because I think they have all the qualities it takes. I think the only club that can stop them from finishing 8th could be Aston Villa, because I think Villa, despite the fact that they're inconsistent under Steven Gerrard, but you can see the difference that they've actually picked up ever since they got in Steven Gerrard. So Wolves, my opinion there is no, they will not finish in top 4. They will not finish in top 4, but they'll give anyone a run for their money, and that is they've already done that on a couple of occasions. Hit Manchester United, I think it was 1-0. Moutinho, Arsenal winning, beating them very late, in their second leg, and also winning the first leg 1-0. It was they were both very close ties, right? So. Up next is Tottenham. Spurs, you feel like they have a manager and they're on fire. Their last game, they beaten Everton 5-0. But their problem, and my problem with Spurs, is Antonio Conte and the inconsistency. I think those 2 problems, can they be solved in the last 10 games of the season? It's quite hard. Of course, Antonio Conte is gonna say, you didn't back me enough. You didn't give me the kind of players I want, so you do not have the moral audacity to ask me for top 4, which I might believe. But also the inconsistent performances. They had beaten, I think, Leeds, and then they lost to Burnley, and now they've beaten, Everton. 5-0. If they can keep on that, and I don't think they really can keep on that, because right after beating Everton in the midweek, now, actually on Monday, now they will play Manchester United on the weekend. A game that I think 100% they will not win. It could be a draw, it could be a Manchester United win, but I don't think they will win it. So I think with Spurs, they've got to find a way of finding a pattern, and I don't think they'll find that pattern, but they need to find a pattern. They need to find a way of winning more games, of collecting more points, like 15 points in a row, like 21 points in a row. That is 7 games in a row. But can they do that? It's hard for me. It's hard for me, especially with Antonio Conte, already pulling lots of disbelief in this team. When they lose the game, he always says, look, we are not good enough. We are not really good enough. So if you look at the last 5 games, as Spurs, they've won 3 and lost 2. So literally, they have taken 9 out of their possible 15 points. Look, and they still do have a couple of games to come. I think they still have Arsenal to be played. They have not played Arsenal yet in the second leg. They will play Manchester United over this weekend. So they do still have a couple of big games, and the more these big games come in, of course, they're no surprise to beating big teams. They always give them a run for their money, especially now that they have Antonio Conte. But I think for Spurs, maybe top 5. That is more realistic. With all consistencies they have, it's gonna be very, very hard. And also, in those last 10 games, you consider the breadth of their squad, which I think is also a limitation for Spurs. I don't think they will finish in top 4. Manchester United have been, I think they've been favorites, right? The expectations have been reducing right from the beginning of the season until where we are right now. Anyone could blame it on social. Anyone could, speak whatever they want. But United are not where they're supposed to be, especially this season. Because by the beginning of the season, United thought we could be in the top 4. We could be in the top 3. We should be fighting for the title. And the inclusion of players like Cristiano Ronaldo and Jadon Sancho, players that were not present last season, it just meant that we are making we are making this squad better, and we're trying to win up. We are trying to probably put put pressure on the title. We're trying to put a mark on the title. They've not done that. I think it's courtesy of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. He crashed this season. Is the kind of project that he was running terribly crashed. And when when such a project crashes, I think as a big team like Manchester United, they have to for me they have to bring in a manager who has right away going to put this team in the right direction, and also chase their ambitions. I don't think Ralf Rangnick is really doing that. I think what Ralf is doing is impacting and teaching a philosophy that is not going to win you top 4, a philosophy that's not going to actually take you anywhere this season. Probably next season, if he stays in the job, maybe. But bringing in a manager on a short-term contract to do the patches, and then you feel like later we'll bring in a manager. I don't feel like it was a very, very good idea. I don't feel like it was it was the right thing for Manchester United to do. But Ralf Rangnick, he's coming. I think what he's trying to do with this side is very, very visible, trying to get them to play good football, trying to get them to believe in themselves, bring back that kind of emotional happiness. And I think he's trying to do that. The football is not yet that good. The results are not yet that good. And the trouble Manchester United are in this season. Now, I think top 4 is very, very far away from them than West Ham, as they've not actually found a pattern, a way of winning games. Kind of like Spurs, but with United, it's like they're playing a very, very strange system under a strange manager, and their ambitions also look very, very strange to them. I think that's a huge, that's a very, very huge problem. So with Manchester United, probably they could finish 5th or 6th in this season, because if you look at their strength defensive wise, it's not part of them. They do not defend well. Whether it's Harry Maguire and Lindelof, whether it's Maguire and Varane, they just simply don't defend well. And on a couple of occasions, it's been David De Gea bailing them out. But that wouldn't be a problem if they were scoring as many, and that is their problem. They don't score as many. They don't convert the chances. They do create the chances under Ralf Rangnick, because again, that kind of system that Ralf has brought in at Manchester United, that is what he does. You create the chances, lots and lots of chances, but can you finish them? They do not have that prolific striker that they assumed Ronaldo will be. So you don't score many, and you do not defend well. Top 4 for me, United is out. And realistically, these are the two teams that I think will fight until the end for top four, and that is West Ham and Arsenal. Now, West Ham has been a shock this season. They've been a shock. They're sitting sixth on the table, played 28 games. They have 45 points, sitting 3 points behind Arsenal. Of course, Arsenal do have 3 games in hand against West Ham. So that means if Arsenal can't find a way of picking up around 3 points from the possible 9, because again, those fixtures Arsenal have to play are very, very hard. You have Chelsea, you have Spurs, and I think that the other game is Liverpool. So they're very, very difficult games. But nevertheless, you don't mind. You don't mind that, as long as you can, because at the moment Arsenal don't need to think about the games in hand. All they have to think about is how do we win the rest? How do we pick up more points? Than the rest of our rivals until the end. That is what they have to do, and that's what they have to think about. I think they will do it. I honestly think they do it. They've been very consistent under Mikel Arteta in the last 5 games, 1-4 and drawn 1. That is Burnley. They've been very, very consistent. But also you have to think about it. Arsenal to be where they are where they are currently. They have not played Chelsea. They have not played Spurs. So probably it could have been a different story if they didn't if they didn't miss those games. Probably they could have more points or less in their last 5. But the point with West Ham lads is they've been outstanding. They've been good. They've been shocking. They've shocked each and every team that actually didn't expect them to be that good. And I think that is what they need to continue doing. They need to just keep on producing those those kinds of brilliant performances, time in, time out. The likes of Jared Bowen, they've been they've been outstanding. For them, the likes of Thomas Susek, Mikel Antonio has been very, very pivotal for them. The likes of Zuma and also David Moyes as a manager. Lots of credit to him. But why I think West Ham will not beat Arsenal to top 4 is the mentality. I think West Ham do still have that kind of mentality. It is okay. As long as we are in and around the top 6, it is okay. Because if you look at the gap they had between them and these clubs, the likes of Arsenal, there's kind of a very, very big gap. But the way they've lost these points, the way they have just compromised themselves and settled for less, it shows me it's not going to be one of those because again it could be psychological. It could go it could become a psychological battle, and that's where they lose it. But they do have the quality, and look, they just need to keep on picking up points. They could beat Manchester United to position 5. They could beat Tottenham to position 6. I think they will be better than Wolves. They're just fine in around there. They're just fine. They could get Europa League. They could get UEFA Conference League. They can't miss out on either. So I think they'll be fine. The team that I think will take top 4 this season, surprisingly, is Arsenal. Now the problem with Arsenal is a striker. That is the problem. Right now, they are on fire. They do have a couple of difficult games to come in. They'll play Liverpool, they'll play Chelsea, they'll play Manchester United, and they'll play Spurs as well. But the advantage Arsenal have, unless they throw it away dramatically, is that despite the fact that all these teams are there to play, they do still have 9 points to waste. They have 9 points to add. Because look, Arsenal at the moment are sitting 4th on the table, 48 points, and they have 3 games in hand against Manchester United and West Ham, right? So if you think about it in this way, that means that if they lose all their games in hand, they will stay 3 points clear of West Ham, and they'll stay a point clear of Manchester United. So I think that is where the confidence is. That's why I think Arsenal should have and must have more confidence than any other side, in the Premier League right now. Of course, you have Spurs that have 45 points as well at the moment, and they played a game more than Arsenal. So, if Spurs keep on winning and winning and winning, there will be lots and lots of contention on that spot. But Arsenal, the easy thing they have to do, even if they lose all the games in hand, it doesn't matter. All they have to do, they have a better goal difference than any of the rivals. Because if you look at the goal difference, they have 12 on the table. 12, United 7, West Ham 11, and Spurs have 8. So they have a better goal difference. So even if they lose all the games in hand, what will be affected is their goal difference. And I think, honestly, they've been a part of those clubs that you can say have been really, really defending very well. Because if you look at Wolves, have conceded only 23, and Arsenal have conceded only 29 goals this season. So they've been defending very, very well as well. So the strength with Arsenal is the games in hand. That's it. Pick up more points, lead the top four race as long as you have these games in hand, right? Because it just looks weird. You're leading the top four race, but you've not played 3 games. It just shows you, that Arsenal is the better team of all these 6 clubs or 5 clubs. Whichever you want to put it. So my prediction for top 4, I think Arsenal will go back to Champions League. Are they ready? That's the huge question. I don't think they are ready, but they will go back. Position 5, I will still back West Ham to finish in position 5. 6 is United, and 7 I'll go with Spurs. 8 Wolves. Let me know in the comment box below what do you think. Who do you think will finish in the top 4, and who do you think is gonna win that race? Because it's amazing. It's amazing. It only takes 3 games in a row for a team to be back as a serious contender in this top 4 race. As long as you can win 3 games in a row. And I think that is why that is what Arsenal have done. Because if you look at all these other teams, none of them has won 3 games in a row in their last 5. United do have 2 draws, 2 wins, and a loss. West Ham have a loss, 2 draws and 2 wins, and then you have Spurs that have 2 losses and 3 wins. But again, those wins are not consecutive. And then Wolves have actually lost their last 3. So if any team, if Arsenal could win their next 3 games until 28 games, if they can do that, for me, they stand very, very, very clear. But of course, let me know who wins the top 4 race, and I'll speak to you very, very soon. Hit the like button, and also don't forget to subscribe to the channel.